Guys, this is the King of Weebs here, and this is What If Naruto Accepted His Fate, Part 1. Yes, I'm redoing it because I kind of got everything I recorded at first, and I truly cannot be asked going through it again. I'd rather like listening to it because I really don't like listening to myself, and so I'm just going to remake it, and I mean, it's better for you guys get more OS, but anyway. And this time I'm not going to upload another two parts of two different what ifs afterwards. I'm just going to finish this one and then go on to a different one. Anyway, we begin the story with Minato and Kushina actually on the verge of death as they are about to die against the Mantles Kuroma. But here, the Shinigami decides to have some mercy upon these humans or these lower beings, and he or she, I'm not going to mention a gender because I truly don't know, decided to actually allow them to live, at one cost though, to treat all three of their children equally. And so in the end, the Shinigami seals away the full mantles inside his son, and anyway, his eldest son, that being Naruto. And anyway, after all of this, Naruto, of course, Naruto, Menma, and Naruto begin their lives. But anyways, of course, Minato and Kushina at first treat them as equals, as they're still children. I mean, they're still toddlers, babies. But anyway, after this, after a while, Naruto and Naruto, of course, begins to grow up, of course, and he's around not even 7, 4 years old. Sorry, my bad. 4 years old, and in the end, he actually begins to get treated differently, as in they're starting to ignore him more, as they heard a prophecy from Jiraiya saying that there will be two beings in this world, or two humans, or two ninja shinobis that are going to be able to control the beasts, tail beasts, and be on par with the Sage of Six Paths, and they will be the savior of this accursed world. And anyways, of course, once Jiraiya said this, of course they realized that this prophecy is literally talking about Menma and Naruto as controlling the beasts, the tail beasts even, and they straight thought of Naruto. So Naruto pretty much will become a demon as as he grows up. The Mantles will take over. However, that's not true. And anyway, now Naruto actually one day he wakes up and sees his siblings being trained while he's alone at home. Well, not alone, in his own room. And once he asks Kushina to train him, she says no, that they need training more because they are the children of prophecy, which didn't make much sense to Naruto. However, he just understood and thought he should ask next time. Anyway, the next week, Naruto actually asks Minato if he could train him. However, Minato gets really pissed off at this because he thinks Naruto is going to become a demon, so he no longer cares for him, and actually smacks him. This made Naruto realize that he's not wanted in this family. Well, not in the family yet, as of yet, but he's not wanted, and so he decides to just get out of the home and not come back for a while, as he doesn't really have anything to come back to. His parents never call him down for dinner, breakfast, lunch, anything, or and plus his room is pretty much the smallest one. It's not in the attic like in the last one. I realized I let a lot of like a Wattpad I read let me, or influenced me in saying things similar to it. So his room is just another small room, but all they can fit in there is a bed and a wardrobe, which doesn't have clothes, but it has scraps, so basically ripped clothes from Myanmar and things like that. And anyway, as Myanmar has new clothes every single month, pretty much, and the old ones, if they're not ripped, they usually rip them themselves. Anyway, Naruto just accepts it as he can't really do much about it. But anyway, something that his parents don't know is that Naruto is quite smart, and as he has to do everything on his own, he actually develops faster than kids his age, and his mind is no longer a 4-year-old's mind, but as the months pass on, Naruto has been studying. He's been well, he's been getting much smarter. Since a 4-year-old doesn't have much knowledge, we know that Menma and Naruto are fools as well. So the knowledge difference is actually massive, as Naruto already has the mind of a 14-year-old. Yes, Naruto only in a few months has gained the 10 years of knowledge right there, as in book smarts right now. But anyways, this is actually the curse of the Shinigami, as the Shinigami or the Death God actually did make a deal with Minato and Kushina, and that deal was broken, and now the curse has begun. And anyways, it won't affect Menma or Naruto, but it will affect what the prophecy is of. Basically, the prophecy was always, well, not really, it would just make Naruto, well, the curse is Minato and Kushina, on Minato and Kushina, as they think Naruto is the bad one. However, that's not true. And anyways, now Naruto, of course, is getting chased by villagers. However, he realized that he needed to get stronger, and he already started training on his own, as he is now 5 years on October 10th. And Naruto was heading home, as he was actually sent out of the home first thing in the morning, because they were getting ready for Menma and Naruto's birthday party. And anyways, Naruto was avoiding knives thrown at him by the villagers, broken bottles of liquor on fire, all sorts of things, rocks, everything that could hurt him. Naruto was avoiding them. However, one did hit, but Naruto didn't pay too much attention to it, because if he did, he would get pretty much slaughtered. And anyway, Naruto got home with a bleeding, or with his head bleeding, since a rock did hit him pretty hard. And then as he walks into the compound, he sees all the families, all the people, all the kids his age. However, he just looks down and was heading towards his room until he bumped into someone. This someone was actually Itachi, and Fugaku. Well, Fugaku was next to him. So was Mikoto and Sasuke. However, Sasuke was actually um, playing with Menma. Menma told Sasuke to go somewhere else, and so they did. And anyway, now, Sasuke did look back as he saw the child, or the kid his age, injured. He was worried, but he couldn't really do anything about it now. And then of course, Naruto just looked at him and says he was sorry. But then, as he was walking away, another person grabbed his wrist, and that one was actually Sasuke's twin sister, Satsuki. And then Naruto looked back and asked what's the matter, and then of course, then Itachi actually speaks up for her, saying, no, well, asking why is his forehead bleeding or his head bleeding, and Naruto said, no, I fell, no big deal. However, Itachi knew that he's an Anbu and he knows more things about, well, Naruto than Naruto probably knows about himself, since Naruto actually did find out about the Nine Tails, but that's something that they don't know yet. And anyway, now, of course, Naruto just started heading to his own room, and Itachi had, well, felt guilty inside, as he knows what truly happened. He was probably being followed to get killed. And then now, of course, Mikoto asks what really happened, and Itachi says that he must have been chased by the villagers again, and he must have got injured. And then after this, of course, the birthday party began, and Minato and Kushina actually told Naruto and Menma to come up to the stage, and they pretty much told them that they would announce them as clan heads. Naruto actually becoming the Uzumaki clan head, and Menma the Namikaze. Naruto knew this was going to happen one of these days, however, it still hurt him inside, and the third Hokage was furious, pretty much. However, he didn't really say anything about it yet, and just looked at Naruto. He had a band-aid over his head at this point, and just crashed down to him, saying that it's okay. Naruto just shook his head, saying it's alright, Gramps. And anyways, of course, the Hokage is actually one of the few people that actually care about Naruto and always look after him whenever he comes over. Yes, he actually goes over, and anyway, Naruto just starts walking away until he hears someone actually complaining, or not complaining, actually protesting, which that was actually Mikoto, and she said, "Wait, how's that fair? First of all, they're not the oldest in they're not your oldest child. What? And second of all, why isn't Naruto written on the top of that thing or the banner?" As he said, Naruto, congratulations to Naruto and Menma. And then of course, Naruto just then actually spoke up, saying it's fine, I'm used to this. And then he just walked out the compound, and some people just didn't care. Some looked perplexed. But anywho, the party went on as per normal, and Naruto was actually on his own in the Forest of Death, training pretty much, and was actually fighting the beasts in the Forest of Death. However, the beasts were acquainted with Naruto. They didn't hate Naruto. They could see that he's an outcast just like them, and so they actually were quite welcoming to Naruto. I mean, the more welcoming than his own parents. But anyways, of course, Naruto actually has a gift. Well, he's talented. He has a gifted talent, and he can understand what animals say or what they think, so he can communicate with them. And then of course, Naruto is actually now resting with them, and it's getting pretty late. However, he knows the party is not over, and so he stays there until a figure from the dark arises, yes, and that is actually Itachi. Itachi asked what he was doing here, and behind him popped out a little girl his age, and she was pretty shy, and so she hid behind her older brother. But anyways, Naruto asked, "How did you find him?" And Itachi said, "That's a secret." And Naruto actually gets out a kunai and asks, "Is he an enemy or an ally?" Pretty much being ready to fight Itachi in case he's actually there to harm him. And then of course, Itachi then just pulls out a kunai as well and says, "What if I was here to harm you?" And Naruto then says, "Well, I'll fight to my death." And then he actually charges Itachi, and he was actually quite fast. Itachi actually noticed this, and he realized that this is normal speed for a 5-year-old at this point, and he realizes that this is mad. Naruto is very fast, and then Naruto was attacking and attacking. However, he didn't have much technique in his attacks, but for a 5-year-old, the technique was mad. And then Itachi then told him that he wasn't here to harm him and to stop his scaring his little sister. And then now Naruto did stop, pulled back the kunai, and just told him to get out of here. It's not he's not welcome there. And then of course Itachi asks why he's in here. The beasts are dangerous, and Naruto just looks back and says, "Well, the more welcoming than my own household." And then as he said that, he gave a cold glare at Itachi, something that he doesn't usually do. He always has a happy-go-lucky look, as he always smiles, even at the villagers that hate him. However, this is Naruto showing his true self, someone that is broken inside, someone that has never really felt or felt love or anything, and so he just he's actually just showing his true self to these two. And Tsuki has seen Naruto around multiple times, and she's seen that Naruto has always a bright smile. And here is where she actually decides to speak up, asking why Naruto is hiding all this pain behind that mask of his. And of course, Naruto understood what she meant by mask of his, and Naruto just said, "It's not like I have anyone to tell, or anyone to relate, anyone to help me with it, or help me cope with it." And then he's, of course, Naruto actually said goodbye to the beasts, and they actually started heading off their own ways. As Naruto actually started jumping from tree to tree, and Itachi was actually saddened by this, as it was true. Naruto was hiding a lot of pain behind that facade of his, and now that Tsuki knows, it's well, Tsuki now knows as well, and the only few people that know are, well, I'm not gonna say yet, but there are three people that we know that Naruto is pretty much faking all of it, and that is Itachi and Naruto, well, not Naruto, Tsuki, the Hokage, and then Naruto headed back home. Then he saw that everyone was actually starting to leave, and then he saw Itachi and Tsuki there again, and Satsuki, and then Naruto just walked in, and as soon as he walks in, a loud slap noise was heard as Naruto was slapped by Kushina, and Kushina started yelling at him, asking why he was out for so long, and Naruto then said that he didn't want to be in he didn't want to celebrate this party, and Minato actually got pretty angry and told him, "So you don't care about your younger siblings?" And Naruto said that Naruto actually just looked down and said, "Alright, I'll go to my room," and of course they didn't say anything afterward. However, Naruto knew that this wasn't the last of that he's going to hear about this, and then of course, the other clan heads actually saw this and realized that Naruto isn't having the best of his, the best life, and the Hokage was really infuriated. But as he was about to say something, he had someone actually put a hand on his shoulder, telling him to calm down, and that someone was actually Orochimaru. Yes, here Orochimaru never really escaped. He actually got over it. He was in a salty that he didn't get the full Hokage spot, and so he actually just said, whatever. Not like I can do much against Minato or the third Hokage to say that. And anyway, so he decided to just remain the elite shinobi and not complain and not really go rogue, as he would have pretty much, like, in the original. But anyway, of course, the next day Naruto woke up to his siblings fighting again, as they fight quite a bit, and they were fighting over a kunai that their dad gave them, and they got confused on who's, and anyways, it was pretty irrelevant to Naruto, as Naruto started walking downstairs and they saw him, all of them saw him. However, he didn't even look at them, and he just walked out of the home. Of course, so Kushina didn't really care. So did Minato. Minato was actually heading towards the Hokage Tower, as he had to do some work. And then Kushina actually began training Naruto and Menma, and then Naruto was on his own in the Forest of Death again, training, and this time someone was actually watching him, and that was actually Satsuki, as Naruto did notice her and saw a beast sneaking up on her, and Naruto just shook his head, looking towards Satsuki's direction, and Satsuki was confused because she thought she wasn't seen, but she looked behind her and she got scared, as a beast was literally so really close at what was about to kill her and have her for lunch. But anyways, of course, the beast nodded and just took away his claw and walked away. Anyway, now, of course, Naruto then told Tsuki to come closer, and or Satsuki, I keep saying Tsuki, and then Satsuki does come closer, and Naruto just starts asking why she's actually stalking him, and and Satsuki just tells him that she was just curious, and she didn't really mean to disturb him. And Naruto then just told her, alright, go home. It's alright, but don't do this again. And then as Naruto was actually heading towards the library now, he actually bumped into, Itachi. It was actually his day off today, and it was actually Itachi actually asked Naruto what he was doing here. Not many kids come around this area, as it was more of a study area at Naruto than just said that I'm going to the library, and Itachi was actually perplexed because his siblings never really went to the library, especially since like they're five, and Naruto's already going to the library studying, and he actually did follow him. Naruto couldn't actually, no, couldn't track him, or couldn't actually realize that Itachi was following him, but remember, Itachi's a prodigy, and then now, Itachi actually saw Naruto was studying. It was actually the, well, shinobi, past, or the shinobi history, and this is really boring. However, Naruto was already getting acquainted with the history of shinobi, the history of Konoha and everything, and it was actually very impressive to Itachi, as not many kids at the academy understand these things, but Naruto's already reading a book about it on his own without having a teacher explaining it to him. It was actually really impressive to him, and after Naruto was done, he actually stopped Naruto and asked him if he wanted to train. Yes, he actually asked Naruto if he wanted to train. However, Naruto shook his head, saying that he'll do it on his own. He's always been doing things on his own, and he will continue doing things on his own, as it's his fate to be alone for the rest of his, life. And then of course, this kind of saddened Itachi, but Itachi actually took, initiative and actually went up to him and said that it's not true. You shouldn't allow fate to just, he shouldn't really think like that, and he shouldn't forge his own path in life. And Naruto then just looked back and said that none of the Jinchuriki get a choice. However, they still get hated on, as they chose to hold what they call demons. Have they even met the tail beasts? Did they not realize that the tail beasts fight because they were sealed in the first place? The tail beasts did nothing wrong up until some people decided to seal them away into people and use them as weapons. Tell me, is that fair? Would you, if you were a tail beast, just allow that to happen once you're free? Don't you think don't you think that the Naruto was just trying to become free, just get his freedom? You never really thought about it, have you? You just think tail beasts are all demons, and now you think I am the demon because I have the Naruto's inside of me, or inside of me. Of course, Itachi was taken back from this, and Naruto continues by saying, since you guys decided my fate for me, I'll just accept it. One day, I won't be in this village. I'll be free, just like the tail beast will. As Naruto made it his own goal, his lifelong goal, to allow the tail beast to have freedom, not outside of the Jinchuriki, because Naruto doesn't want to kill every Jinchuriki, and kill himself, of course, but give them freedom because they can be inside the Jinchuriki. Naruto has, you know, made some mathematics in his head. Naruto has made some research and realized that some Jinchurikis, like Yagura, are actually perfect Jinchurikis. They work together with their tail beast, and so you realize that others can do that too, and they don't need to fight the tail beast, and they can be inside of you, but free at the same time. It's kind of confusing, but anyways, Naruto understood it perfectly and just started walking away. And Itachi tried one more time. However, this time Naruto actually wasn't having it and told Itachi to fuck off, literally. And then Itachi understood that Naruto must have gone through a lot of pain to he must have gone through a lot of pain to develop such thoughts, as he realized that the mantles is inside of him. Of course, that was kind of obvious to most people, but anyways, Naruto of course, understood that what people want of him is to always be their, well, the demon, well, the person they call demon, and even though they hate him, at the same time, they are kind of grateful, but not to him, to the full Hokage, as he sealed them away into the now new demon. But anyways, now, of course, Naruto was on his own again, and it was pretty late. He hasn't eaten yet. He has no money. Naruto goes days without eating at times, and then of course, he was about to head home until he was stopped by Itachi again, but this time with Satsuki, and they actually just took him to their home. Literally, Naruto had no say in this. He didn't even get the time to react, as Itachi actually body flickered him, Satsuki, and Naruto into their home. Naruto then looked around and asked, why is he doing this? And Itachi replied by saying that he's going to show him what love feels like, as it's pretty obvious Naruto hasn't really felt that that kind of warmth, the warmth of love. And anyway, of course, they took him in, and Fugaku actually looked at Naruto. At first, Naruto kind of just looked back with the same exact stare that Fugaku was giving him. Fugaku was giving him a more, well, he was actually just studying Naruto, as Naruto was studying Fugaku, and Naruto bowed down, saying, "Thank you for having me." And then now Fugaku just actually smiled for the first time in a while, and this was a rare occasion in, this family, and Satsuki and Sasuke actually were jumping, saying that they actually saw their dad smile again, and of course, Fugaku actually had sympathy for Naruto, as he understands that Naruto is going through so much as such a young child, and he actually pats him on the head, saying, "You're a brave one." And then of course, Fugaku understands Naruto, well, most of Naruto's pain. Of course, he hasn't gone through all of it, but he understands how he feels. Naruto feels betrayed, he feels alone, he feels cold, pretty much. And he could see in his eyes, Naruto's eyes are not blue like Minato's, but they're more of a dark shade and of blue, a really dark shade of blue, and they're really dull. And you could see that there is no life in them anymore. And then Mikoto actually walks in and actually sees Naruto, and then of course, she actually hugs Naruto, as she realized that she should have done this much earlier, yesterday, since Naruto did pretty much get stripped of everything that, well, his birthright and everything. And at this, Naruto was really taken aback, since Naruto has never been hugged in his life other than the third Hokage. But of course, the third Hokage can't show motherly love like Krishna should have showed Naruto. But anyway, of course, Naruto actually let out a few tears, but he didn't understand why he was crying. But anyway, now, of course, Mikoto and, well, Naruto had the dinner with the Uchihas, and then he was gonna go home, but then Fugaku stopped him, saying there's no point of going back, just stay with them, and just live them with them from now on. And yes, Fugaku himself is saying this, even though it's kind of, well, it's not really something Fugaku would say. And then Sasuke spoke up, saying, "You might as well. I mean, your brother's pretty annoying. Oh, I wouldn't want to live with him." And Satsuki says the same about Naruto, and Naruto looks back, actually smiles for once, which actually, made Satsuki really interested in him now, because his smile was actually quite warm. You could see the kindness coming in from that smile, and it was different from his normal smiles, as this was a real smile. And then Naruto thanks them for the offer, but he realizes that if he does, it causes a lot more problems for them than him, and it then make the Hokage pretty mad. And so he says that he doesn't want to make Uchiha's reputation worse, as of course, because of what happened 5 years ago, and it's already bad as it is. He doesn't want to make it any worse because of him. And then of course, they were taken. Well, Itachi, Mikoto, and Fugaku were taken aback by this because this was classified information that an Uchiha was able to take over, well, control the Naruto's. How did Naruto know this? This is something that Naruto knew because of Kuroma. Yes, Naruto didn't meet the Naruto's, and the Naruto's told him everything, and Naruto actually believed it. In fact, he told the Naruto that he would let him out as soon as he finds the key to this cursed cage, and of course, the Naruto's actually, well, Naruto did ask for the Naruto's name. However, the Naruto said no, he's not going to give it. He hasn't proved that, well, Naruto hasn't proved himself to him. And the only way to prove that Naruto's worthy of having the Naruto's name is by beating him one on one in a fight. And of course, Naruto accepts this and actually fist bumps the Naruto's. Actually, yes, at least they do that. And then Naruto does. That is one of Naruto's goal, actually, to beat the Naruto's on his own. Remember, this is a full Naruto's. And then now Naruto and Naruto actually walks out of the home and waves at them, saying that if he ever feels lonely, or sad, or like he wants to be with someone, he'll come back and walks out of the home. Of course, now a few years pass and Naruto has visited the Uchihas not too many times, just here and there, but he has a really, really good relationship with both Sasuke and Satsuki, and he actually took Itachi's training. Yes, all three of them began training with Itachi, and this was really helpful for Naruto. Well, all three of them, because they got to train with each other. 3 years have passed, and of course, Naruto was actually going to stay over at the Uchihas, and during these 3 years, Menma and Naruto got quite strong as well. However, I'm not going to mention their strength yet, as they are really strong. Like, I'm not going to badmouth them or anything. I mean, I am, but in the few upcoming parts, but they're really strong. However, not as strong as Naruto. You know what I mean? Naruto has that kind of power. You know what I mean? Yeah, power. Anyway, Naruto was walking home, well, not home, to his new home, pretty much, what he considers home, and to the Uchiha compound, and this is where things start to get quite messy. Yes, the Uchiha Massacre still happens as per normal, as Danzo still is the little cunt he is, but anyways, I mean, I don't really hate Danzo too much. I mean, I hate him, but at the same time, I can understand where he was coming from. He was trying to protect the village. I mean, his goal was pretty much the same as Hokage Naruto's. In the end, in the long run, he was trying to do everything for the village, but he went the wrong way. You know what I mean? He took the more darker path that Sasuke was gonna take, but we move. I have a lot of respect for Danzo. The man was actually really able to beat, Shisui, with the help of, like, what, 1,000 men, we made. That's how strong Shisui was. Anyway, Naruto and, Sasuke and Satsuki walk into the Uchiha compound and see that the lights are all off for some reason, which is kind of weird. It's only 10 p.m. and usually there are people outside, or people just walking around, and the lights are usually on. And then Naruto walk a bit deeper into the compound and they see hundreds, hundreds of dead bodies, and this is where things start to, well, they start to get shaken up, and then they start running into their home, and of course, once they get into the room, Naruto, Sasuke, and Satsuki see the dead bodies of Mikoto and Fugaku, and here, of course, they all get put under Genjutsu, just like Itachi did in the original to Sasuke. However, something that Itachi noticed is Naruto having a different kind of eye. Naruto having the same eyes as him, the Sharingan. This is something that Naruto knew. Naruto knew about this. However, he wasn't gonna tell anyone because he didn't know how people were gonna feel about it, and he didn't know how he felt about it, as he has no heritage, or he has no ancestors with that were Uchiha, and the only explanation is that it's some kind of new bloodline, but it's not. It was actually a gift from the Shinigami, and this is part of the curse that was put upon both Kushina and Minato. But anyway, we move. Naruto actually broke out of the Otsuki only because of just sheer willpower, and of course, the Kuroma pretty much screaming at Naruto, even though he wouldn't really help much. Naruto was actually able to break out, especially because Itachi will actually let down his guard a bit, and Naruto was able to break out because he was a bit stronger will or minded than the other two, more mature, if I were to say. Like at the age of 4, he had the mentality of a 14-year-old. So at the age of 8, he has the mentality of an 18-year-old. He has the like his mentality is older than Itachi's at this point in the story. But anyway, of course, Naruto asked Itachi why, and Itachi asked Naruto how does he have the Sharingan. Naruto then actually tells him he doesn't know himself. He made some research and he found out that nobody in his heritage or no one in his clan ever had the Sharingan. He made deep research and he found that none of his ancestors, nobody had it, and he doesn't understand himself. It might be something new that he has. It's not inheritance. It's not something like that. It's completely different. And then Itachi asked, how did he awaken it? Naruto then said that it was one night when in his he was in his room, and he actually had the nightmare of seeing Fugaku, well, everyone that he loved, die in front of him, and he awakened it. Once he woke up, he looked into a mirror and he saw that he had the Sharingan. However, he didn't really understand much about it, and the Nantos told him everything about. Of course, Itachi then asked the Nantos, and Naruto said yes, the Nantos. He is someone that I talk to quite a bit. In fact, he's probably the only one who I talk to. He's the only one that I can actually tell about everything. He knows everything that happens to me. He knows everything that I feel. So he's pretty much the closest person to me after Satsuki. And anywho, of course, Itachi then laughs, telling Naruto that he's going to be something great in the future, and he only wishes him the best. And wait, and tells Naruto to look after both Satsuki and Sasuke. And Naruto then asks why. Itachi told Naruto that if Naruto is strong enough one day to come fight him with Satsuki, and Sasuke defeat him, get the answers, and then kill him, Naruto then tells him that he'll never kill him. Never in his life will he even try to kill him, as Itachi is pretty much an older brother to him as well. He's the first person to actually genuinely, other than the third Hokage, genuinely, other than the people that already cared about him. No, he was the first to actually tell him to carve his own path, and yes, Naruto still accepts his fate, but his fate is different than what he thought it would be, and this is his fate. He still accepts it, and then now Naruto tells Itachi to get out of here before he gets truly angry and awakens his Mangekyo at this rate. And then Itachi then smiles on Naruto, pats him on the head, and tells him that one more time you'll be something great. And then then he both flickers away. Naruto then takes both Sasuke and Satsuki away to the third Hokage and tells him what happened. And the third knew that this would happen because he asked Itachi to buy him some time, but Itachi didn't seem like he would. And then after this, the next day, the bodies were recovered, and the only two survivors were Sasuke and Satsuki. And of course, the closest person to them is Naruto. However, what uh, Minato and Kushina thing is that it's actually you know um, Menma and Naruto the closest people to them, as they are their best friends. But anyways, they take them in. They actually since their compound is pretty big and they have bigger rooms as well. They have extra rooms. Naruto should have stayed in one of the big ones, but it is what it is. They take them in, and yes, as the Hokage, uses his powers. Minato makes them stay at their compound, even though they don't like them. No, not necessarily, not they really don't like them, but you know, they would rather stay on their own in an apartment. However, Minato said that they're too young. Once they graduate from the academy, yes, they can, but before that, they're gonna stay with them. And not this kind of made Naruto happy. However, at the same time, he realized that he's probably gonna be well, he's probably gonna be prevented from talking to them, hanging out with them. And anyways, of course, Satsuki just tells him it's fine. They're not gonna be at the home once when they hang out anyway. And then Naruto smiles at her as she is his crush pretty much, and he is her crush. But anyways, now if you the academy has already begun, and Naruto has made two new friends, a few new friends, not two, Shikamaru, Choji, Shino, and Ino. Yes, they all became pretty good friends as they actually remember Naruto and they see Naruto around, how he's treated, and it's not out of pity. They were curious about Naruto, how he really was. Was he really a demon like the villagers describe him? Their parents actually don't hate Naruto. In fact, they actually treat Naruto as an equal, as they're actually grateful to Naruto that he's the Nanto's Jinchuriki. Otherwise, maybe even one of their children would have to be here. And they see how much he goes through, and they don't feel like Naruto deserves it. And then they told their children, well, unlike some people, Minato and Krishna, the children of prophecy, you know, any, uh, their children are the children of prophecy. That's what they think. Anywho, now, of course, Naruto was pretty much hanging out with his little friend group, and until Menma and Naruto come in, telling Sasuke and Satsuki that it's time to go home. They should go home now, and of course they don't even mention Naruto, which kind of pisses off Satsuki. However, Naruto just tells it shakes his head, indicating don't do it, don't. It's not worth it. And of course, Satsuki gets really pissed off again, but she doesn't do it and tells them that they're not gonna go home yet, and it's not time for them to go home. They need to train, and of course, Naruto and Menma reply by saying that the their parents will train them now that they're with them, and of course, they decline, saying that they'd rather train on their own, just like their brother taught them, and this actually triggers Naruto, saying, well, she starts saying that their brother killed their clan and still they treat him with respect. And this pisses off all of them, pretty much. Naruto actually tells her to shut up, and then Sasuke says he must have had a reason. And then Sasuke says that there's no way he would do it without a reason. There must be some sort of reason behind this. And then of course, they walk away, and even their little friend group goes with them. And of course, they go different ways, as their friend group isn't going to start training yet. They don't really care about it yet. They're more laid back. While Naruto, Sasuke, and Satsuki are pretty much training every single day hard, and you know they're just
they're just really strong. They're already well, Satsuki and Sasuke are getting level, definitely. Well, of course, once they activate their Sharingan, which they don't know about yet, there would be high getting level. Naruto is nearing high training level, same as Menma and Naruto. They're nearly high getting level too, as well. They are high getting level because of their intense training, and they are actually starting to learn the flying rage. This is gonna take them a few years, however it's gonna be worth it. And then Naruto already knows the Rasengan, as he actually stole the scroll. Well, not the scroll. Well, he actually just saw how Minato does it, and he realized what it just is. And with the help of Kuroma, since it is based on the tailed beast form, of course, Kuroma tells him what the tailed beast form is: a dense ball of chakra, while the Rasengan is a rotating ball of chakra. And Naruto pretty much understands what it is. It's even with the tail beast form, you need to have containment. You need to be able to contain the dense chakra. While with the Rasengan, you need to be able to contain the rotation of the chakra within that little small ball, which is more handy to humans or more usable for humans, as they cannot hold a massive tail beast form, which is probably thousands of times bigger than them. And anywho, it's more efficient, if you want to say it like that. But anyways, now of course Naruto already knows it, and he is actually copying the flying Raijin too, as he wants to learn it too. He finds it really cool, even though he knows that Minato just pretty much stole it and made it a bit better. He knows that it's the second Hokage's jutsu. That's why he's not really too uh you know too hell bent on not doing it, since he kind of hates Minato. But anyways, of course, who wouldn't hate Minato if he treated you like that? But just saying, I love Minato as a character. He's an amazing character in my opinion. I'm just saying that in this life he isn't. But anyways, now a few years pass, and now they're 11, and of course Sasuke and Satsuki are they haven't really changed much at all. Just that Satsuki actually did ask Naruto out, and so Naruto actually did accept. And anyway, now of course during these few years, Naruto did get a new teacher, and that was Kakashi. Yes, Kakashi does actually like Naruto, and of course Orochimaru actually starts training Satsuki and Sasuke. And anywho, yes, this is what happened within these few years. Naruto does learn the Chidori, so does Sasuke and Satsuki, and because pretty much they train together still, and Orochimaru still teaches Naruto as well, and the Hokage is really happy with this, as the Hokage actually, the third Hokage, just saying, the third Hokage actually asked them to do it, and they actually accepted because they find Naruto and Sasuke and Satsuki uh, pretty well. They find them not annoying as other kids, and they're acquainted with them already, and they are some of the few people that don't hate Naruto. And anyway, now Naruto, of course, uh, being pretty much Jonin level at this rate, same as Sasuke Sasuke. However, they don't show it. And anyway, of course, now not Mito, sorry, Menma and Naruto are pretty much Johnny level 2, as they were trained hard as hell, and Tsunade and Jiraiya are teaching them. Naruto actually gets the snake summoning, so do the other two, and yes, they are snake summoners, and of course, uh, something that they all took from Itachi is the crow substitution. Yes, they all know how to do the crow substitution perfectly, as they really found it cool when they were sparring with Itachi. He used to do it quite a lot to confuse them and make them, more aware of their surroundings, as the crows could attack them too from anywhere, and so they do it as well. And then if we were to scale them in power, it would be Naruto first, then it'd be well, Sasuke, and Menma on the same level, and Naruto is a bit behind all four of them, as she isn't training too hard. Well, she's a bit more laid back, but anywho, she has a really big crush on Sasuke. Anywho, Shikamaru, Choji, Ino, Shino actually do start training. Even Hinata starts training, and they are all really strong. They're training level already. However, they don't show it, just like the rest. And anywho, this time the whole of the rookie nine are going to be pretty strong. Even Kiba starts training as he joins their little friend group. And anywho, another year passes, and this is their last year, and they're doing their final exam. Naruto was always what they call the dead last, because Naruto has never showed anything, and he passes with flying colors as he comes near the middle of the class. And anywho, now Team 7 is actually well created, and Mizuki's threat was actually shot down by Orochimaru, as no one failed, well, no one that he wanted to manipulate failed, and in the end, Orochimaru was able to, well, find Mizuki, and this time Mizuki was actually doing was actually doing it for his own gain, not for Orochimaru or anything, and in the end, he was shot shot down, and then he. Of course, Eureka is really proud of Naruto, as Naruto is his favorite student. I know favoritism and everything, but he treats Naruto pretty much the worst. That he punishes him the most out of everyone. He wants Naruto to grow into a perfect shinobi, and he needs to understand that he needs to do work. He can't be lazy, and Naruto is very lazy. He's like Shikamaru 2.0. However, when it comes down to it, when he has to do something, when it's compulsory, he knows that he can't mess around, and he really puts a serious face on. He's like, alright, let me do this. And then now, of course, Team 7 is actually quite different, as the Hokage, being the Hokage, realize that since Menma, Satsuki and Sasuke lived together with Menma and Naruto, he decided to put them all in one team. He never really expected Naruto to pass, so he didn't put him in any team until he saw the last name in the passing list. And Naruto, I did say he came near the middle. I meant near the end. Well, pretty much at the end. And then he realized that Naruto actually barely passed, even though he did everything perfectly. It's because of his scores overall, the whole 4 years. He still came last, and in the end, he decided to put him in Team 7 with his children because of the prophecy, them being able to control even the tailed beasts. And so, in the end, Naruto was put into Team 7, and they had two senseis, as there were 5 people in one team, and the rest of the teams would be exactly the same as in the original. Anyway, the senseis are the same, except for Kushina being an extra sensei for Team 7, and that's pretty much where I'm going to end off. Hope you'll enjoy it. Please take care, stay safe. This was the King of Weaves here. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and subscribe, sorry, and peace. My ducklings, you're dismissed.